back, they weren't allowed to say that they'd had a good time. They weren't even allowed to talk about what they did. It was just as if it didn't happen. So not all alienation is this vicious battle of fighting, and then it's me. I look like the fighter because I'm like, wait, this is wrong, right? This is wrong. My sons both suffered from anxiety. They both suffered depression. I have another son, Nick, who's 13 months older, and he is incredibly unhappy right now. He's battling for his own life right now. He's, again, if he's there, everything's okay. But if he wants to see me, wants to talk to me, at my son's funeral, he sat beside me, but not before. He put on this whole, that he had to sit beside me at the service in performance for the other side of the family. The funeral service for Michael, this is the kind of stuff, right? I mean, I had not seen this family for years. And at no point in time, none, not one. My son missed 90 days of school his senior year is what I've been told. 90. Not one person on that side. And we're talking college-educated people, 2 former teachers, a retired Navy, an attorney / ordained minister. Not one of them called me, my parents, my sisters, none of us. Not at any point when he started missing school, when he stopped and quit his football team. Nobody asked. They could have called his school, right? Anybody to say, hey, what's happening? How do we help Michael? Not one call, not one, to anybody. They just kept on keeping on that path, and it didn't matter how much he hurt, how much he struggled, because it was their way or literally the highway. I sat with attorneys through this whole divorce process, and I remember the day that I sat there and people told me, these 2 attorneys said, we can't help you with your sons. We can help you fight for a bank account, for a car, for a piece of property. And I was like, you can do nothing for me then, nothing. Because if you can't protect something that came from my very own body, then you can give me nothing. And there is no car, no bank account, no house, nothing that counts for anything when your child's suffering. The day that he died, he messaged me at 10:30 that morning, and his brother had called me to tell me that Michael wouldn't even get out of bed to go to the bathroom, that he was urinating in plastic bottles in his bed. And nobody wanted to take time, right? There was a psychiatrist involved. Nobody wanted to get him treatment. He became addicted. He tapered off of illegal drugs himself. Couldn't get his dad to give me insurance information because he had tapered off. He got hooked on synthetic marijuana. We went quite a journey. I slept for 2 years with my phone under my pillow and my hand on it, and Mark, my boyfriend, can attest to that, because I was scared to death to miss that call. My son was in ICU. I didn't get a call. My dad got a call, and it went like this. And I had just talked to Michael. I got on board a flight. I talked to Michael. He said he was going to get in his truck and he was going to start heading back to Texas at this one point. And I got off a flight 3.5 hours later, and the world had changed. And I didn't get a call. My dad told me, he says, oh, by the way, Michael is in the hospital. He overdosed, but he's okay. They're going to release him at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was like, I knew that to be bogus. So I called, my son was in ICU, and I sat standby for 3 days, waiting and hoping I would get there in time. Alienation is it's not a joke, right? People go, oh, well, you know, you're just fighting with your ex. This is costing your children. This is, it's something, it can be very subversive, very secretive. It looks normal on the outside to other people. It does. I go back to his funeral service. I walked into a church, and you can imagine that I had not seen any of these people, and I look up and I see my son's photo that I brought today, and I see a box of ashes because he was cremated. And they had lined the service. The church had a center aisle, and they filled the section behind them. And I walked up to the family, and they looked at me, and they said, "Oh, hi, we think you'll be better over there." So I sat by myself with Mark, and I had a friend from California, and I was waiting for my big red S, right, to be pinned on the front of me. And my friend and Mark are telling me, "Don't turn around, don't look at these people." And I was like, "Excuse me, but I am going to look at these people." And I looked every single one of them in the eye that day, because I wanted to know who had been with my child and what had happened, that I was there. And I delivered an 8-pound baby boy, and he thrived and he did well when I was in his life. And I picked him up about a 5-pound box of ashes. And no parent should have to go through that. None. I don't understand the hatred. I don't understand that kind of anger. And I am still grieving, obviously, and I am still getting through this. But Michael was aware that I had gone to a parental alienation meeting, and I credit Mark with that. He found one in New York City, which is where I was living. I'm just moving back to Texas now. And we had gone, so I've been going to these meetings for about 8 weeks, when I had to go in and tell them that, you know, I lost the battle. I did, in the worst way. But I still have hope for Nick. I still worry about him. I still have to go, you know what? I had to tell my son the other day, it's okay for you to be with them. It's okay. You don't have to be with me, right? I love you. You don't have to be with me. Because every time he's with me, he's made to feel finances are withheld, or there's some kind of love is withheld. It's wrong. It's just wrong. So I'm very impressed with this group, and Wendy, you've done an amazing job. I didn't know about narcissism. I didn't know about parental alienation. I didn't. I had heard moms gripe that dads weren't paying child support or vice versa, but I didn't hear about any of this. I knew nothing about this. And I thank the people, and I wish more people understood. So I will be joining these groups more actively. I've had to get to where I can't talk without crying. But Michael wanted people to know, right? He helped us. He did help us. Because I've talked to several judges that said that they can't tie a lot of the behavior sometimes because the divorces were filed so far back. Mine was filed in July of 2010, and as I'm sitting here, all of a sudden, I never understood why the timing of his suicide. And just while I was sitting here listening to this, I realized that we moved to Florida around June 7th, June 8th in 2010. And that's when his world changed. We didn't know we were getting divorced. And I ended up filing for divorce July 10th at my ex's request, and all hell broke loose. So I never put that correlation. You know, he talked about how much his life changed, but he was trying to help us. He was trying to help. And that's why he found the copy of the letter from a child of divorce. It spoke to him. And he sent it hoping that it was going to speak to his dad. But I will keep that alive for everybody, because I know I've had so many parents. You know, I announced my son's suicide on Facebook. I was by myself at the moment I got that call. I didn't know what to do. There were so many people that I needed to talk to and I needed to tell, and I was in New York. And so I went, wow, I am opening myself up to such ridicule and such judgment, and God only knows what else. But it's okay. It's okay. And even though I stand here crying, I'm tough and I can take it, and I'm not afraid of professionals, and I'm not afraid of questions. I'm free to talk to anyone. I have been threatened with defamation suits, libel suits. I have been threatened beyond every day. Every day I speak, I live under threat that I'm going to be sued for this or that. Well, that's okay, because this is my story, it's my experience, it's what I've been through, it is what my child went through, it is what my child was subjected to, and it is what my child died for. So yes, I will be here with anybody and everybody in getting this out in the public and doing what we can to help others so that nobody has to do this. And I hope I said something that makes sense, that touches somebody, helps someone, because you guys have really helped me a lot through this, and thank you.